Hey guys, welcome back to Thanks to Trey. So today I'm going to be giving you guys tips on how to get quicker doing Brazilian waxes. Okay, so those of you who don't know, I've been waxing for about 2 years now, and when I first started working at the European Wax Center, I was waxing very slow, as some people would call it. You know, I usually didn't hit the 15 quick time. Even now, I think I do about like 17 minutes if I'm really focused. But now that I own my own business, I kind of take my time because my clients, what's really important to them is just not really the slowness, but the personalization of the whole thing. So I just try not to really rush because it's just, I don't know, to me, I just like to take my time, and take my time runs me about 17 minutes, sometimes less. So first tip on what made me quicker. What I did was I sat and thought in my head, what is really holding me back? And for me, what was holding me back was not wanting to just grab, because okay, as an esthetician, it's new, especially if you didn't practice in school, like you're really touching people. So that was really nerve-wracking for me. So I just started to think like, oh my God, like, okay, push it to the side because I didn't want to hurt them or be too rough. But then I realized like, it's fine, nothing hurts. So I just I just started doing it. And what I would do is to make myself comfortable and to know like, does this hurt or not? I'll be like, oh, not too much pressure, right? And they'll be like, oh, that's fine. So that's when I really got comfortable. So that's when I'll really get in there, move the labia to the side, move everything. Because you have to hold the skin really tight. So I'll be holding the skin super tight and just doing it. And it wasn't like hurtful or anything. So that's another thing, really getting comfortable with pretty much touching clients and waxing them. Okay, so the next tip is I formatted in my head how I was going to lay the strips. Okay, so here's the woman, and we're just going to leave the legs straight. Obviously I can't butterfly my legs. So what I do is I put a strip here on the thigh, and I put a strip on the labia, and then I put a strip up at the top, just like kind of halfway. And then I pull the leg strip, and then I pull the top, and then by that time the labia is done, lift up the labia. Then I do all the opposite again, and then of course it gives the client time to breathe, and then I pull them all again, and then there should be like a little bit of hair here, which is kind of like above the labia and between the top. So I put a strip there, get that, and then from there, I do one strip going down from the top of the vagina. I don't know if this makes sense. If you guys want me to do a detailed video on that, no problem. But I do a strip here, and then before you know it, you're done. Now you're just cleaning up. So that's something I did just to make it quicker. And even if you guys don't want to know exactly what I did, it's important to think of, okay, what works best for me? And it will always vary between person to person, but you have what you usually do. You know what I mean? So you always want to figure that out, and then that way you're kind of going in with a plan. Okay, another huge tip is cleansing the area. So when I used to cleanse the area, I used to put too much cleanser, so that way it would be really hard to dry it up completely. So when I put the powder's getting all chalky because it's wet, it's water mixed in with it. So what I do now is I don't use so much cleanser because a little bit does go a long way, and I just dry the area. So that what I usually do is, and it can waste time, but if you need to do this better than that, then the hair not coming up good. So what I do is I go back and I just make sure it's dried before I put any powder. So then I put the powder, and then I make sure I put move the powder, distribute it well. But it's important to not use too much powder because then you're not really grabbing the hair. So really, when you follow those steps correctly and don't overdo any step, when it's time to get the hair, then you'll properly be able to pull the hair up. The wax will stick to the hair good, and all those things. Okay, another thing is making sure the wax consistency is good. So let me show you guys. I have some wax here. This is the consistency that I work with now. See? And it's funny because I used to not really know what I was doing. I would come kind of late to work at the European Wax Center and even here. And I would just not have time to really get my pot to the correct consistency. So then you have hot parts, you have good parts. So you ask your client, is the temperature okay? They tell you the temperature is okay. But when you start grabbing from other areas, now all of a sudden it's hot. So I saw this lady, I'm going to put her name on because without her I wouldn't have learned how to get my pot to the correct consistency. So what she does is she turns it all the way up and then she turns it down so it can cool. So it melts all together, same temperature, that she melts it down as the same temperature, stirring periodically till it gets to her desired consistencies. Of course, consistencies will vary due to the different types of wax. I use idle wax, the orange kind, and I'll leave that link in my bio. But yeah, so basically that's important to do. So now what I kind of do is I don't really melt it all down, but I leave my pot pretty low so when I come I can melt it up and then cool it back down, but not so watery as she did. But that definitely, you know, laid out how I do it now. Another thing is, which the lady, the manager at the European Wax Center, she always would tell me pressure, pressure, pressure. And again, I'm thinking that's gonna hurt, that's gonna hurt. So let me show you guys. So I would just be doing it really soft because I don't want to hurt them. But she said you'll break your stick before you hurt them. So let's just test that. See, and that didn't hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to just try things on yourself, especially if you're a woman too. You could easily see like, okay, what does hurt down there? What doesn't? You know, practice it that way. I can't say that I haven't done it. That's really how I learned how to just get in there without hurting anyone. So pressure, pressure, pressure. If they're sweating, don't be afraid to dry that sweat and add more powder. Okay? And don't be so concerned about the time, because when you're concerned about the time, that's going to cause you more time. But when you're waxing efficiently, you pull up that first strip, you look, it's packed up, and then you do the next strip and there's some hairs but not many, and all you do is pluck, you're going to finish in no time. And another tip is, do not sit there and pluck all day. When I tell you I was a professional plucker, and then I realized I'm telling my clients to go home and exfoliate and they don't want to exfoliate. So usually when you explain to them, if you're not exfoliating, it's unlikely that all your hair is going to come up. So you can do some, like the long ones, but don't sit there and be hurting your back, aging yourself more, because they don't want to do that aftercare. So once you politely explain to them, hey, you know, just please exfoliate more and we could really get this going for you, then it'll be much better to wax, and then you can have better results and not sit there and pluck all day, because that's taking up your time as well. And another thing, like I said about the heat, I used to sit there like, is it okay? And they'll be like, no, no, it's hot. So I have to sit there and cool it down. So again, come on time, get your pot to where you need it. For me to get it to this consistency, I turn it up about to 95. You don't have to turn it all the way. I turn to 95 and then I put it to about 75, 65, and I kind of just stir periodically. Again, that will vary from pot to pot. Just go into work one day and come early. You own your business, go in one day sooner. Try and just figure out what your pot and your wax, what combination works well. So yeah, guys, I think that's about it. If you guys have any other questions, please comment below and let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I definitely can do a part 2 if I get enough questions. But all right, guys, thanks. See you in my next one. Bye.